Welcome to July 5th. Here's the situation. We had a couple of really good storms pass through here on the 4th of July. It was God's own fireworks. It left thousands of us without power. So it's July 5th, and I've been without power since 7 o'clock last night. It is currently 9:30. And I sold the generator. So now the air conditioner and the generator are both sold. However, as much as I would like to pretend that my husband's up in heaven going snicker, snicker, snicker. No. What's brilliant, I think, is I hated that gas generator. That thing was as ancient as my husband. But it worked. It was a monster. It would power up the whole house. But it, man, noisy, stink, exhaust fumes, and you probably can't hear it, but I can hear all my neighbors around me with their generators. However, everything I need to keep me going was right inside there. I want to thank my lucky stars, okay, because my biggest fear are always the trees, all these trees along that side of the house. But it really only looks like the only thing that got knocked over were a few of these chairs. Unless the bear and the deer were rowdy last night and had a 4th of July party without me. So I've kind of reclaimed the living room space. You know, there's still things here that are going to be picked up. There's some things I've decided to keep. I brought my plants back out and I gave myself a place to sit in the living room. But this morning, and I'm going to go around this way. You can hear me jingle jangling because, well, I got keys all around. I pulled out the refrigerator and I pulled out my Jackery from the van. Here, you can't see. Jackery. And the strap, I'll explain the strap. But yep, I've got my refrigerator plugged into the Jackery. Get that flashlight back over here. Right, so the Jackery is showing that right now I've got 90% of a charge on the Jackery. There is nothing helping to recharge. That's why that says 0, but it's showing me that the refrigerator is pulling 113 watts, and I have 12.7 hours before the Jackery runs out of power. And the strap, I got one of my new ratchet straps, because the kitchen cabinetry was custom made with this refrigerator in mind. So in order to try and pull it out, it was somewhat impossible for one person. And I'm avoiding opening up the door so that it stays as cool as possible. So I had the brainiac idea to get a ratchet strap, and there was enough room to slip it over the top and behind, and to get both ends of these so that I could, from the middle point, grab the straps and pull, and it slid out so simply instead of me struggling and breaking my back trying to get it out. The other thing I did was bring out my 5-gallon water jug and pump. I've got it attached to the drawer there, that cell phone holder that holds the little spigot. Yeah, because, you know, you can't use running water without electricity because it's a well. Right? So that thing out there is the well. So that goes deep, deep, deep into the ground. And there's electricity and a pump down in that hole, and that's what pumps the water up and into the house. So no electricity, no water. Well, I mean, you'd have some water until your water tank became empty. It's interesting, during the clean out of the basement with Lucy and Sonia, Sonny didn't like the idea that there were gallons of water downstairs. So back in the day, my husband's ex-wife would save water in juice jugs, milk jugs, water jugs, whatever, to help flush the toilet. Because again, you can't just flush the toilet when you don't have water in the tank to refill the tank to flush the toilet. And Sonny wanted to just dump them all, and Lucy stopped her. I didn't have to. And perfect, because at least I can keep the toilet clear, dumping the water in there. So yeah, happy July 5th. I am surviving in my home because of what I have in my van. I think that's just mind-blowing. I love it to think that, yeah, this is still glorified camping to me. And how blessed am I? There are people probably in serious trouble if they don't have a generator, with elderly. I mean, we're going through this heat wave. We did have lots of rain, so I'm hoping it doesn't get too hot. But you have people on oxygen. You know, I'm sorry my husband's gone, but in this situation, I'm glad I don't have him here to have to take care of him in this situation, because that would be an entirely different story. I would probably figure out how to get him in the car and drive to Jersey and get a hotel until this passes or something. So I am blessed. Things are working out for me. There's no place I have to be. The sales are over. I can just, I don't know, do whatever the heck I want. It was funny too, because last night I finally gave myself permission to work in my memory keeper journal. It was around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. The storm was rolling through, so it was dark from the clouds. And I was watching one of my own vlogs on the TV in the bedroom so I could refresh my memory as to what was going on back on the 8th, because that's the week I was working on in my memory keeper journal. And I was happily cutting some ephemera, gluing it in, and zoop, the power went out. I was suddenly in the dark. And it always makes me think of that Twilight Zone episode where Burgess Meredith loves to read. He works in the bank, hides in the vault, atomic bomb. He's the only survivor left in the world. The books in the library survive. He piles up the books around him and is finally, I have all the time to read. And he breaks his glasses. It's like, finally I have time to just play in my memory keeper. Zonk. Blackout. All right, universe. Yeah, so I just went to bed early, and here I am. I think I was up at 4 o'clock. Had some crackers for breakfast just because, you know, I couldn't make my oatmeal. I have leftover oatmeal. It just needs to be heated up, but at 4 o'clock in the morning, I didn't want to negotiate those logistics. Had some crackers, pumpkin seeds, went back to sleep. So now that I have the Jackery running, the refrigerator, the situation is the solar panels, the cord for the solar panels are not that long to charge the Jackery. And unfortunately, I don't have an extension cord rated high enough to run from the Jackery to the refrigerator. So I just ordered one on Amazon. Thank God the phone still works, because tomorrow, I have a delivery coming tomorrow. So I just added that to the delivery in case this blackout lasts. So today what I'm going to have to do though is let the refrigerator run for a couple of hours, make sure I'm done opening the door, making sure the door is shut, then taking the Jackery and bringing it closer to the solar panels, hopefully, because right now it's starting to get overcast again. Hopefully we'll have some sun. I can set up the solar panels, recharge the Jackery, and go on with the day. Yeah, I do have other options. if I can't use the solar panels, I could throw the Jackery back out in the van and go for a ride. And the van will charge the Jackery. I need to get fuel in the car anyway, but if I don't have to, I am not leaving the house. So we'll grab whatever kind of daylight we can for the solar panels. So that's my to-do list for today. If anything exciting happens, I'll come back to you. But for now, that's it. This is, I'm still blessed. This is nowhere near a panic situation. Yeah, I could pack boxes. There's enough daylight coming in here. Still try and clean out my bedroom because I still can't stand how cluttered my bedroom is. I could even shoot a video if I wanted to. All right. Surviving out in the Poconos. Talk to you soon. I did say I was going to start wearing the wireless mic. So the beginning will be bad audio, but maybe now for the rest of the day it'll be better. So that's the other thing I love about this house is the gas stove. So even though it has an electric igniter, as long as you got matches, you're okay. Every house I look at in Virginia, electric stove. I ask every house I talk about, can it be converted to gas? I do not like electric stoves. Don't. So luckily, yesterday, well, I had run out of those instant oats that I just pour hot water in and poof, you've got oatmeal. I had run out of that, but months ago, even before Jerry passed away, I had accidentally bought real oats, the kind you really had to put in the pot and let them simmer and everything. And so instead of running out and getting more of the instant oats, I said, I'm trying to clean out the cupboards, so I might as well just make myself some real oats. So yesterday I made a pot full of oats. It always tastes better. I just always go for convenience over this wonderful, because I make it, I put some cinnamon in and vanilla. I threw the blueberries in, even a little bit of maple syrup. So anyhow, I made myself like a vat of oatmeal yesterday. So luckily today, all I have to do is heat it up. So I just threw water in the one pot, right? All my other pots are packed. So I'm living out of that one medium-sized pot and a frying pan, the one big frying pan and a small cast iron one. That's the only cookware I have. Except, of course, I do have out in the van another pot and the induction burner if I want to use that. Yeah, so this morning I'm just heating up my oatmeal. I thought I would share with you how I'm keeping my clothes organized because you do realize I've been living out of luggage for at least 2 weeks now. So I just thought I would share how I'm doing this. And I'll admit right up front that I've put aside way too many clothes, I think, to live out of. But with the whole dryer not working, the laundry situation is weird, and I'm still living at the house. It's not like I have to try and squeeze everything to fit in the van, like a van trip. I packed mostly winter clothes. That's in the pods. But yeah, let me show you. I'm using the floor to show you because right now that's the only available light I have. This is a quick overview. This is what's been working for me. The first thing I want to show you are these compression bags that I bought because that's the lifesaver. So they're similar to those vacuum compression plastic bags that I showed you the other day when I was sucking the air out of my pillows for storage. Only instead of using air, it's just straight compression with zippers. So I know there's different brands of these out there, but after reading the reviews, I went with this Aero trunk, and they're working great. So the premise is there's two sets of zippers. You have the one zipper that controls the flap on the top, and then you have a second zipper that goes around the middle. So when you have that unzipped, you can fill it. It has a nice depth to it. And so for instance, these are my t-shirts. All right, so I fold them in such a way, instead of stacking them one on top of one another, I like to kind of fold them, right? They're folded, but then I kind of fold them in half and do a filing cabinet system so I can look and I can know right away which t-shirt it is without having to dig. All right, and once you have your clothes in there, you zip it up. And then if you press in on the sides, this other zipper will compress it. Of course, you can't jam pack it. Lord knows I've tried. So it has compressed it and made it into a nice smaller package. And there is a mesh on the cover so you can kind of see through. But to help me know where everything is, I created a little system based on the bags that I use. And of course I went with the rose-colored ones. I mean, you know, pink is my thing. So back in November of 2021, right after my husband had his cardiac arrest, I had to figure out some sort of hands-free system to be able to carry everything I needed to care for him. After that bit of trauma, he was actually being fed through a stomach tube. So I had a lot of kit that I had to carry around, plus push him in a wheelchair. So I picked up a military backpack because I love the whole MOLLE system. The MOLLE system is there's bands all across because you can attach. They make attachments that slip into these bands. And you know me, the way I love to organize, I really loved the idea of a MOLLE military tactical backpack. Unfortunately, size, I couldn't really figure out the right size, and the first one I ordered was a 40 liter, 40L, which means you can fit about 40 1-liter bottles in one backpack. And when it came, I was like, my God, this is huge. I can't be walking around the VA with this big old bag. It was too much. But instead of returning it, I kind of kept it in the closet, bought myself a smaller one. Well, now this 40-liter tactical backpack is working out really great for my luggage. Let me show you. So right now I have it unzipped, and I like that you can unzip it to where it opens up flat for the main compartment. And the main compartment had a little slot here for you to put a laptop. But then it also has this mesh pocket and then a zippered mesh pocket. So this has become the, how shall I say it, the core of what I wear. It's the unmentionables. So I know that in here I have my upper unmentionables and in here I have my lower unmentionables. You know, the undergarments. And then I also have, well, additional undergarments and some sleeveless tees. Look, I didn't want to survive on just like 5 pairs of undergarments and then have to like wash them in the sink and let them hang dry. No, so basically all my pairs of undergarments are available to me. So I have plenty to wear and I can wash at my own leisure in the washing machine. Okay, so now in its upright backpack position, you can see that with those side pockets filled, I still have a bunch of room here. So that's why the sleeveless tees, they slip right down in there, and the extra undergarments, and I have to do laundry. So some of these bags are light. So I know that main compartment is the base layer. That's the word I was looking for, base layer. So then this next compartment here is leggings, because, well, when it's cold, that would probably be the next base layer, or just for comfort if I don't want to be wearing jeans. Let's zip that one shut. The other thing I like about the fact that I picked the rose-colored compression bags is that they stand out from the black backpack. I can see them better. Then in this front top section, it's identical to the size of their smallest compression bag, and these are all my little ankle socks. So they fit right there. And for the time being, this front one here is just masks, because I didn't know if I should pack them, where I should pack them, and a belt if I need a belt. So just as a point of reference for the MOLLE system, by the way, that's M-O-L-L-E, which is an acronym for something. But here's the smaller bag that I wound up getting, and it provided me a way to add patches. I was able to add this spot for my water jug. You know, there's a place for Snoopy to hang. Oh, a place for cat hair to hang out. But see, I was taking advantage of the whole MOLLE system even with my lanyards, because when you wear this, right, this would be on your front side. And I had this retractable key lanyard that I added, so after I parked the car, I could hang my keys and not worry about having to find my keys when I needed them. Yeah, I love the MOLLE organization. All right, so back to how I've been living out of totes and organizing my clothes. So I know everything in that backpack is the core base layer. That's right, I keep forgetting base layer. And the way I have it sitting right there, I have it all zipped up and closed so it looks all organized. But you have to remember, I'm not going anywhere with this backpack. I'm not going hiking or anything with this backpack. So it's not like I have to heave it up on my shoulders and go anywhere. It's just acting as an organized way to store my clothes. Eventually, either it's going to be whittled down so that it's not as packed when it's time to go to Virginia and it'll get stuck in the van, or I don't know, depending on how the future goes, it might just get thrown in the pod if I'm heading straight to a new residence for me to pull out when I get there. So when it's in the bedroom, for the most part, those zippers are open, so I can just reach in and pull out one of those compression bags and get what I need. So since that's the base layer, then this tote here is carrying everything else. So like my t-shirts I showed you, I have a really big one here with sweatshirts. I don't have a lot of those out, but you never know, it'll get cold again. These are for lightweight but long sleeve. And then this other long one in here has shorts and a pair of jeans, a little couple extra t-shirts, or nicer shirts than just t-shirts. And then I had one of my cubes from my cube closet that's still out. So here's like a bag that I haven't even filled yet. These are jammies. And then since I'm living out of totes, this is all my toiletries for right now. Yeah, and I just keep them thrown in the cube. So I just keep a corner of my room right now with these tote bags in it. And that's how I live. And I like it. You know, this brain of mine that likes structure likes it. because I don't have to think, wait, which bag has the underwear in it? No, I can just go right to a certain pocket or a certain bag, and I know that's where those clothes are. So that's how I've been doing it. So the sun is doing this sort of peekaboo right now between the clouds. And since the sun is a finite resource, I set up the solar panels. Got the wire going in through the porch window. It's roughly 1:30 in the afternoon, so this had dropped down to 65. The refrigerator was still running off of it. It was pulling about 90 watts and there was about 10 hours left. But I decided if the sun's coming out and it's a finite resource and the refrigerator's been cooling off now for a few hours, I thought I better take advantage of the sun and top off the Jackery. It's fun to watch these numbers because every time it gets overcast, you got a little more cloudy, it drops on the input and it takes longer to charge. But then all of a sudden the sun will come out, the watts jump up, and it takes less time to charge. In one sense, it's been a blessing today that the sun hasn't been out. It's been overcast most of the day, but at least the temperature isn't getting above 90. The humidity isn't too bad. So in that way, it's been a real blessing. But then for me and what I want to do, I'm going to need a little bit of sun just to recharge the Jackery. Again, it's not critical. Things are still good. I'm just checking in. Two o'clock and we're back on the grid. As soon as I heard the oil burner click on, because it has a distinct sound, I'm so excited. So I brought the solar panels in. The Jackery is connected right to the house electric so it can charge. Just so you get an idea. Look at the difference in input, right? That's coming in off the house electric, so a little over a half an hour and we'll be back to 100%. I had even brought in my little Bowdens, but look, this one straight out of the van was at like 16% when I brought it in the house. And I was charging my phone on that while the refrigerator was charging. So I've got that plugged into the wall now to get that topped off too. And like I said, thank goodness it didn't get over 80 today. But look at the humidity numbers. The humidity level is the same as the temperature. Ooh, spooky. It's about 10 p.m. There's another thunderstorm rolling through, but we still got electric, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna get this video out to you. I spent the day plucking more stuff out of the bedroom and boxing it. I swear that bedroom is like a clown car. It's gotta end at some point. All right, guys, I'm safe and sound. Hope you are too. Talk to you again soon. Laugh at the insanity. Laugh a lot. Ciao.